Firstly, it positions Nigel Farage as a power player. He always wants to sort of have that view in UK politics that he has got the ear of the White House now, that he has got the ear of the world's richest man. So, it continues to keep him in the news and keep his profile high and have him taken more and more seriously.
So, Steve Parker, welcome to the programme. Thank you for talking to us. Let me ask you this, as a specialist in marketing and campaigns, when you saw this story of a possible $100 million handout for reform from Elon Musk, what went through your mind? Did you think, well, that's going to be a game changer?
Well, I thought Musk's sort of high on his own kingmaker status, isn't he? He sort of had great success with Trump's re-election. His profiles, I guess, has never been higher globally, and he's sort of flexing his muscles. He's sort of letting our leaders know that he's around and interested. And it strikes me as a PR move for everyone involved. It's a lot more difficult to spend that money in the UK than it is in the US. Obviously we can't have broadcast advertising here for political parties, so it'd be a lot more complicated, I think, to have an instant impact. And I think Elon Musk is an impatient man. So, it struck me as a PR move first and foremost. But that's what I say. There's not something to it.
No, I mean, look, you of all people know that a PR move can have some impact. I mean, that you're in the business of making sure that's the case. And when you say that it may not be immediate, when you say it may be complicated to do it, does that mean it can't be done? $100 million is a lot of money. Can that change the picture politically?
I mean, I think it can. I mean, the resources it could get for a political party obviously are huge. And I think, firstly, it positions Nigel Farage as a power player. He always wants to sort of have that view in UK politics that he has got the ear of the White House now, that he has got the ear of the world's richest man. So, it continues to keep him in the news and keep his profile high and have him taken more and more seriously.
Right. But if you were being advised, though, now, let's say you got the account. Here's $100 million. Make reform, the biggest force around. Could you do it, and how would you do it?
Well, I wouldn't go straight to the traditional means of promoting reform. I'd sort of look at action groups that maybe were aligned with the donors' interests and with the party's interests. I mean, I think obviously in the US, they've long had political action committees and those kind of organizations to funnel money through. But in the UK, I think, an alignment of, say, Elon Musk's interest in free speech together with the Reform Party's political priorities regarding immigration, and having an action group around that.
Yes.
Things that feel independent of the political system, but obviously quite aligned to it, that can motivate people around issues. I think we're in that kind of more single issue mindset now. I think the idea of people wanting to be attracted to a party feel quite 20th century, whereas now I'd be looking at that. I'd be looking to fund groups that are kind of broadly aligned with the interests of the party.
Yeah.
And then those groups can get grassroots support. That grassroots support can then be directed towards the Reform Party when it comes to an election time. But I think in between elections, and I don't think Musk is interested in winning local council seats. You want to kind of build up momentum behind issue-based movements. And I would probably look at that way into the political discourse in the UK.
Right, and pouring money into issue-based movements, into particular causes and campaigns which are not the party themselves, that's relevant, isn't it? Because a foreigner, Elon Musk, is American, you can't donate to a British party.
Yeah, so he can't donate to a British party. His company can through X, of course, but I guess it becomes quite complicated. I think trying to remove yourself from that, the regulations were built for a sort of analog broadcast era of political parties. And I think obviously in a fragmented media era that we're in now, it's a lot harder for online spend to be monitored. So, one of the ways he could make a real effect from the political space is to fund advertising through Meta. Probably he won't do it through his own platform, but I think Mark Zuckerberg's platform is far more effective as an advertising medium than Twitter. So,
well, Zuckerberg is a great rival to Elon Musk. Is he going to want to write a check to Mark Zuckerberg for $100 million?
No, exactly. So, the money wouldn't go there. So therefore, it's quite hard to make an immediate impact. The question is, does he have the patience, for a long-term ground game of funding issues-based committees? And that kind of stuff takes time. It means you've got to get the right motivated people on the ground. 100 million can help motivate people quite quickly, of course. But it's how, I imagine he's someone who gets his head turned quite quickly. So this feels like a shot across the bow. He ultimately doesn't like Starmer because he didn't invite him to an investment summit. So, and he turned against Biden in the first instance because he he wasn't invited to the White House,
Yeah.
amongst other tech leaders
Yeah.
who were. So
I think Musk had a beef with Starmer before he was not on the guest list for that investment summit. I mean, he was pretty hostile to the Keir Starmer government over the Southport riots, for example, and two-tier justice before that, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. I mean, obviously he made that those sort of series of infamous tweets in the summer. Yeah, but that is his whole modus operandi, I guess, is putting himself in the middle of a conversation and stirring it up. I do think he does seem to have an instant feedback loop that he requires, and I just think spending 100 million in the UK you won't have that feedback loop. And I guess really what his bigger interest will be is his own corporate agenda, Tesla, SpaceX,
Yes.
XAI. How much can the political leaders of today sort of help him achieve those goals? And I think a lot of this could be, a reminder to Starmer. If you're thinking about regulating AI too strongly, if you're thinking about regulating telecommunications or any of my businesses, these are the cards I have to play. So
you sound pretty skeptical about a lot of this, Steve. But let me ask you this. Imagine I'm Elon Musk and I knock on your door and I say, look, Steve, I want your agency to have the job of making reform. The main opposition to Starmer's Labour government. Here's $100 million. Can you do it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, sorts the mortgage out, doesn't it, John? But I guess it's you get a lot of agency time for that and a lot of agencies. But the only skepticism is of the fact that this is long term stuff that you need to be in the market for. And I think he's ultimately a great PR man. You saw what he did in the US with $1 million a day handed out to people who registered to vote. Those kind of headline making, they're great. It's really good. It's good politics, but it is electoral politics, and it is in the moment, and it is stuff that feeds back immediately. And I just feel that if you want to make the way in which our system works and the way in which sort of people operate here, you've got to have a more of a longer term game. Obviously, if you could write a check, and if there's the right people around Farage or around other organisations who can go, don't worry, we'll take care of that. We've got 5 political action groups ready to go. Just give us 25 million each. Then that is a serious proposition, and that would have a particularly large impact. The question is whether or not Musk is interested in that kind of donation.
Okay. Really interested to get your thoughts, Steve. Look, I must ask you, because it's literally just occurred to me. I mean, you are, after all, a marketing super specialist. Greg Wallace, I mean, he's got himself into a bit of a PR tangle, hasn't he? Looking at the case, from a standing start, do you think you could do much for Greg Wallace?
I think he's probably past that point now. I think on Sunday morning when you wake up and your answer to the allegations that you're facing is to decry that it's only women of a certain age, I think at that point there'd be very little coming back. Everybody loves the second act, but I think given that Greg Wallace has been, I don't think anyone's bemoaning his loss. Yeah. I don't feel a huge amount of residual support.
You think it's curtained down now, do you?
I think it's probably curtained down. I mean, the way to which you come out of that, it's all about, there's no apology. There's always the classic apology, but too late, of going, I'm sorry if anyone was offended, which is, the ultimate apologist non-apology. In the current climate and in the way in which we all see the world at the moment, to double down in the way that he has is a terrible strategy. His agent must be pulling out what's left of his or her hair. The way in which to come back over this is to obviously stare it in the face, admit culpability, and say that you're on a mission to understand and to change. But I don't think Greg Wallace looks like a man who's keen on change.
Yeah, I mean, there are people who are pretty high grade operators in the business of reputation retrieval, aren't they?
Yeah, no, there's a whole business of it. These are long arcs that you have to do. It's not sort of getting ready for next year's Celebrity MasterChef. I think it is, there is a way in which you can do that. But having someone who is as keen as Greg Wallace would be to take to social media and sort of fire back against his accusers in fairly uncensored terms is certainly not the best first move.
All right, Steve, it's really interesting to talk to you. Thank you so much.